2 lines from the bottom. 2 lines from the bottom, starting from the words וחכמים אומרים עד חצות. So we learn in the Mishnah, the first Mishnah of this Masechet is that up till when a person is allowed to read Kriyat Shema, the first opinion says עד סוף השמועה הראשונה, until the first watch, that's Rabbi Eliezer. חכמים אומרים עד חצות, until midnight. The third opinion is Rabban Gamliel that says until Amud HaShachar. Now the Gemara wants to understand what exactly Chachamim are holding. What's the reason they say that a person is allowed to read Kriyat Shema until midnight? So Gemara is gonna go into it. Chachamim keman tzvir aleh. Who is Chachamim holding when they learn the pasuk of V'shukvecha? That means that's the time where we have to read Kriyat Shema at night. What are they? How do they explain? How do they explain this pasuk of B'shukvecha? Ikar Rabbi Eliezer tzvir aleh. If they hold like Rabbi Eliezer that B'shukvecha means when the people are getting ready to sleep. Okay, are they busy with getting ready to sleep? Yeah. So in that case, Limok Rabbi Eliezer. So why is he arguing Rabbi Eliezer? Why does he disagree with him? Rabbi Eliezer says that people are getting ready to sleep throughout the first watch of the night. Okay, Ad Sof Shmua Shona. So if Chachamim are not arguing Rabbi Eliezer, and they also explain that the meaning of B'shukvecha is when people are getting ready to sleep, so it's like Rabbi Eliezer. So why do you have a different opinion? Why are you saying until midnight? Okay, so it can't be that he's holding like Rabbi Eliezer. And if you argue, and if you think that he's holding like Rabbi Gamliel, and what is Rabbi Gamliel saying? How does he explain when you go to sleep? How does he explain that? You have all night. When people are sleeping, it doesn't mean when you're getting ready to sleep, or when you prepare yourself to go to sleep. It's when people are sleeping. So therefore you have all night. That's what Rabban Gamliel is saying. B'shukvecha, you have in the entire night, because that's the time where people are going to sleeping. So if until Amud HaShachar, when Amud HaShachar, people wake up, right? They have to go to Brooklyn, they have to go to this, to that. They have work to do. Yeah, so have to travel, so they wake up at Alot HaShachar. Right? 72 minutes before sunrise. So, but if that's the case, the Gemara says, if Chachamim that say Ad Chatzot, they also explain B'shukvecha, like Rabban Gamliel, that B'shukvecha means when people are sleeping, so why is he arguing with Rabban Gamliel? Why is he saying that we have only until Chatzot? The Gemara says, Le'olam ke Rabban Gamliel tzvir aleh. No, he really holds like Rabban Gamliel that says that the meaning of the pasuk, of the word B'shukvecha, when people go to sleep,
doesn't it say that in the Mishnah?
he has all night. Yeah, but now we are more.
It says everything that the rabbi said on Chatzot is Alot HaShachar.
Yeah, but the Gemara wants to go into details and explain this thing. By the way, Debbie, I remember that you asked this question last year. Yeah.
Because I learned Mishnah when I was a kid.
Correct. So anyway, the answer is that he really holds like Rabban Gamliel, that the person has all night. So if that's the case, why doesn't he say that he has all night? Why does he say that the person has until Amud HaShachar? The answer is Kedei la'achik et ha'adam min ha'avera. The Gemara says because we want people to create a distance himself from, God forbid, transgressing, violating, committing a sin. Okay? And if a person, and the Gemara explains, how do you think this person will commit this sin? That's basically Debbie answering your question. Why are we saying things that are written in the Mishnah? But now the Gemara is really elaborating, explaining it, going into details. Okay? So how is it going to work? This concern of a person committing a sin. Tanya, as the Braita says, Chachamim asus hayag lidivreim. The rabbis created a fence for the words. Kedei shelo yeh adam ba min hasadeh ba'erev v'omer elech lebeti v'ochal kim'ah ve'yishte kim'ah ve'yishan kim'ah אחר כך יקרא וקריאת שמע מתפלל וחטפתו שינה ונמצא ישן כל הלילה. A person, if you say that one has time to read Kriyat Shema until dawn, then when he comes back from work, in those days from the fields, at the evening, he will say, thank God, I have all night. I have all night to say Kirat Shema. I have all night to pray. So what is he going to do? He's going to go back home. If he's going to go back home, what is he going to go at home? He's going to ask his wife, hey, my dear wife, what did you prepare for dinner? Right? So he eats something, and he's going to drink something, and not necessarily water, but perhaps he's going to drink some alcohol. Right? And then and he tells himself, Ishan Kima, you know what? I'm a bit tired. I have all night, so I'll just sit on the couch and sleep a bit. Yeah. But then I will read Kriyat Shema. But then what's going to happen? But then that will lead to a deeper sleeping, and he will sleep all night, and he will not have time. He will miss the time of reading Kriyat Shema because he will wake up after dawn. Okay, after Alot HaShachar. But since the rabbi says that there's a limitation, there's a deadline until one can read Kriyat Shema, so he's not going to go back home. He comes back. He will go directly to shul, and we're going to shul now. He has time to read, to learn. So, if this person is accustomed to read from Tanakh, some people like reading Tanakh. Not everyone likes to read Mishnah or Gemara. Many people like to read Tanakh, or both. But this person, he likes to read Tanakh. So we tell him, okay, go ahead, read Tanakh, read the scriptures. Okay? And if he's accustomed to read Mishnayot, so we'll tell him, go ahead and learn Mishnayot. But then when he finished learning, when he's done with learning, then he can read Kriyat Shema and then he can pray. And then he can go back home and eat his bread and bless Hashem. Say Birkat Hamazon. So that's really the atmosphere. That's really the schedule that the rabbis want to build for a person.
The ideal.
The ideal, not to go from the fields, from your office, go to your house, but go to the shul, and then learn a bit before tefillah, Mishnah, Gemara, Halacha, then pray Arvit, Kriyat Shema, and then go back home and eat and drink whatever you want to do. The Gemara says, "V'kol ha'over et divrei Chachamim chayav mita." Whoever is violating the words of Chachamim, then they are liable to death. The Gemara says, like ask a very basic question here. Why is a person liable to death? He deserves to die, yeah? Because he violated the words of Chazal. It's today they like to use this word.
Even the Chazal themselves said you really have up until hours.
Yeah, today if you open if you listen to the radio, they like to use the word disproportionate, right? Disproportionate punishment, like in Gaza, they say they did this, and we're gonna attack them in a disproportionate way. Like, so this is the same question that Gemara has
We're
here.
trying to defend ourselves.
Yeah, of course, yeah, we have good answers, but I mean this answer that Gemara is asking here, I'm looking for relatively a small thing, not what we call a small thing of like not listening to the rabbis. Okay, that's why he deserves to die. Doesn't make sense. It's a disproportionate punishment. Gemara says the Gemara gives two answers. First answer, the Gemara says Ibaitema Mishuv the Ika Ones Shena. It's a warning. It's warning us that how do you say, a red light for a person to say, hey, if you're going to go back home from the fields, so you're never going to read Kriyat Shema, you're going to always have excuse, you're going to sleep, you're going to eat, you're going to drink. So the rabbis really want to, because people are tired, so they want to shake him, like, hey, wake up, it's dangerous, don't do it, go to shul. That's why the rabbis said, we're gonna say that this person is liable to death. The second answer the Gemara says, we beitem, Lapuke Manda Amar Tfilat Arvit Rishut Kama Shmanat Dechova, to exclude the one that says that Shmona Esrei Tfilat Arvit is optional. If you want to pray, you can pray. If you don't want to pray, you don't have to pray. The rabbi says, no way, no. You have to pray. It's obligatory for men, of course. You have to go and you have to pray. And if you don't pray, you don't read Kriyat Shema, then you violate the words of Chazal and you're liable to death. That's what the Gemara says here. Let's continue.
Shema and Shemona Esrei are not the same thing.
Yeah, Kriyat Shema and Shemona Esrei.
Kriyat Shema is not Kriyat Shema at night is not a reshut. It's an obligation.
Obligation, yeah. Yeah, that's what we exclude. We say we have to read Kriyat Shema and to pray. It's both chova. I just want to mention here another important thing is Sharei Tshuva. He's also asking this question: how can a person he's just violate the words of Chazal? Okay, it's very she makes Tshuva, so but why is he liable to death? So he says, "שמדובר כשעובר על דברי חכמים מתוך זלזול, שאינו מאמין בתקנותיהם." The situation is, it's not that he by mistake did it, or even deliberately. Sometimes people do things. This person had this idea of he thinks that the words of Chazal are not so important. They're not important. That's for he disrespects the institutions and all the things that the rabbis established in order to protect the Torah. He don't think
in this day and age where all these people around saying, "Oh, I keep Torah Judaism, not rabbinic Judaism."
So that's what the rabbis are warning us here. Correct. That's what the Rabbeinu Yonah is saying. That when a person has this attitude, then that's of course a problem, and sometimes chayamita. Okay, let's continue a bit more. Amar Mo, the Gemara continues. Koreh Kriyat Shema mitpalel. So if we just read this braita that says that we should go to shul and we should first recite Kriyat Shema, and then we should start saying then we should say Amidah. This short sentence, these words are supporting Rabbi Yochanan in a different discussion that he had with Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. So let's read this discussion. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Eizo ben Ha'olam haba, who has the share in the world to come? One that is linking the redemption, the Geulah, to the Tefillah, meaning that as soon as he finished Geulah, he starts Amidah. That's very important. Okay? So he holds that you should first recite Kriyat Shema, because Ga'al Israel, the redemption, we always say after Kriyat Shema, and then we start with Arvit. So that's very clearly in the Braita, right? If you just read the Braita says Koreh Kriyat Shema mitpalel, meaning that first a person needs to read Kriyat Shema, and then subsequently, immediately after Kriyat Shema, we have Ga'al Israel, the redemption of Am Yisrael, and as soon as we end, we start Amidah. So we have this link of Geulah and Tefillah. That's what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. And this Braita is clearly supporting his idea. What?
That's why you don't say Kishem Hashem Akbar.
Yeah. So this Braita is clearly supporting Rabbi Yochanan. But it's not supporting Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Let's see what Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi is saying. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi omer, Tfilot be'emtza tiknu. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says, I believe that the tefillot should be in the middle. In other words, the tefillot should be like a sandwich. We start with Kriyat Shema, then we have Shachrit, Mincha, Arvit. Arvit means Shmona Esrei, and after Shmona Esrei, we should say Kriyat Shema. So Kriyat Shema on the bottom, Kriyat Shema on the top, and the prayer is in the middle. That's what Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi is holding. As opposed to what we do today, that we follow Rabbi Yochanan, that we first say Kriyat Shema, and then we pray, and that's a Braita that supports this opinion. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says no. Kriyat Shema in the morning, that we do, right? That's what we really follow that. But what we don't follow Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi is at the evening, because he says
he would say no.
He say first Tefillah, and then Shmona Esrei, correct, and then Kriyat Shema. Okay, that's the argument between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi for when to say Kriyat Shema, if it's before Tefillah or after Tefillah. And the reason why we bring this Braita is because the previous Braita, the reason why we bring this argument, because the previous Braita is supporting Rabbi Yochanan. But by the way, we follow him. We follow Rabbi Yochanan. But now the Gemara will give an answer. The Gemara will explain Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. But before we explain Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, the Gemara wants to understand the background or the reason why Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi are arguing in the first place. So Gemara says, "B'maika mefalke." What's the reason for each opinion here? What's the reason of Rabbi Yochanan? What's the reason of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi? Why is Rabbi Yochanan again saying that a person needs to read Kriyat Shema before Tefillah? And why Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says that it's not important? The Gemara says, "Ibaitem akra, ibaitem asvara." I have there's a different verses in the Torah that each rabbi is saying that this pasuk is supporting my opinion, and ibaitem asvara. And if you want, there's also a logical argument here, not the verses, but a logical argument, a disagreement between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. The Gemara says, "Ibaitem asvara, Rabbi Yochanan savar geula me'ot anamiava." So Rabbi Yochanan that says that also in the evening we should first say Kirat Shema and then read about the redemption, Gal Israel, and as soon as we finish with Sat Amidah, he says, you know why? Because the redemption, the salvation in Egypt took place at night, besides the morning that actually people left. But they also happened at the night. Why? Because Paro gave Am Yisrael permission to leave. The fact that we didn't leave, that's something else. Okay, we understand that. But the fact that we had this permission, this official permission from the king of Egypt, Paro, to leave Egypt, happened at night, Orta. So therefore, it's important to mention Geula, and it's important to mention in Geula in the best way. And what's the best way to mention Geula, since Geula also took place, happened at night, partially, in some way, is to make this link between Geula and Tefillah. That's what Rabbi Yochanan says. It's true, again, that the Geula took place in the morning. Am Yisrael left in the morning because they don't want to appear like robbers, like thieves, leaving at the night, right? That's the reason. But the Geula, the permission starts at night, and therefore we should create this link, Gal Yisrael and Tefillah, at the night and at the morning. That's what Rabbi Yochanan says. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi savar, kivan delo ahavia ela mitzafra, lo ahavia Geula ma'aliyata. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says, no, I don't care. Since the Geula didn't actually take place at the night, okay, it's true that they got permission, but it didn't happen. The Geula really started at the morning. That's why the obligation of making this link between redemption and Tefillah only applies during the day. Shacharit. Doesn't apply at night. That's what Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi said. So this is a logical disagreement. Each one is giving his reasons. And let's go to the source, to the pasukim. And if you want, we can say that this argument is also about the pasukim. And both of them are learning from the same pasuk, from one pasuk. They're both learning from B'Shofarav Chomecha. Dichtiv, B'Shofarav Chomecha means when you go to sleep and when you wake up. Rabbi Yochanan savar mekish shchiva lekima. Ma kima Kriyat Shema v'achar kach tefillah. Av shchiva nami Kriyat Shema v'achar kach tefillah. So Rabbi Yochanan says that there's a link. The fact that we put shchiva v'chomecha, that when you go to sleep and when you wake up, we put it together. It comes to teach us something. What does it teach us? Ma kima Kriyat Shema v'achar kach tefillah. Just as kima, when you wake up, we first say Kriyat Shema, recite Kriyat Shema, and only then we pray, because we want to make this link between Geula and Tefillah. Av Shchiva Nami, the same thing will apply when you go to sleep. In other words, Arvit, before we go to sleep, we should also have this link between Kriyat Shema and Tefillah, and we should first say Kriyat Shema, then talk about redemption, and then pray Amidah. Okay, so again, just as we have this link at the morning, Uf Kumecha, when you wake up, a Shacharit, that we first say Kriyat Shema and we first pray, and that in that case nobody argues, right? Nobody argues that we don't have to make this link of Geula to Tefillah in the morning. Nobody argues about it. They all agree. The only discussion is Arit. So Rabbi Yochanan says, okay, look at the pasuk. The pasuk talks about night and day. So there is a link between those two both things. And therefore, we should make Geula. We make Geula Tefillah. We should make this link at night, just as we do it in the morning. However, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi savar makish shchiva lekima. Ma kima Kriyat Shema semchutato. Av shchiva nami Kriyat Shema semchutato. So Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says that shchiva, that just as when you wake up, Kriyat Shema is close, or is closer to the time of the sleeping period. It's close to when people go to sleep. Okay? The same thing will apply when we go to sleep. That when we go to sleep, Kriyat Shema of Avrit should be close to when we go to sleep at night. Just as in the morning, Kriyat Shema is closer to after we get up, right? We pray, all the Mizmorim, and then Kriyat Shema. But Kriyat Shema is closer than Amidah. It's closer to the sleeping period when we wake up. The same thing he says when we go to sleep. We should first pray Shech Shemona Esrei, then Kriyat Shema, then we go to sleep to put Kriyat Shema closer to the Tefillah. Okay, so we will stop here, and we'll continue tomorrow with we continue the discussion about Gula and Tefillah. Okay, Yom Tov.